If you call your program transitional housing, but it's actually something else, you're not just making a branding mistake. You are creating compliance risk, partner distrust, and operational chaos that will eventually catch up with you. And I'm saying that with love because this is one of the biggest issues in the entire housing space I see right now. So welcome to Live for Free, where we transform lives through real estate. And in today's episode, I'm going to clearly explain what transitional housing is not, so you can build a program that is not only aligned, but it is sustainable and respected. And I want you to stay till the end because I'm going to give you a simple one-sentence test you can use to instantly know whether you truly have a transitional housing program or you are just operating something else. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Now, people want to skip definitions. Why? Because they feel like they're doing something like paperwork, like busy work, like they want to skip by that part. And I find a lot of people do not spend time understanding what it is that they have. But you need to understand that definitions are the things that protect you. So when you clearly define your program, you protect the residents that you serve from being confused. Not only do you protect them, but you protect your staff from chaos and you protect yourself from legal misunderstandings. But most importantly, you're protecting the partners from misalignment because people want to be aligned with you. So you don't want to be out of alignment and you want to protect the reputation of transitional housing as a legitimate solution because I truly believe it is a solution to ending homelessness when done right. Now, HUD defines transitional housing as a time-limited housing program that is paired with required supportive services. So those services are designed to support stability, self-sufficiency, and transition into permanent housing so that you understand that anything that is lacking a time-limited structure to it or requiring supportive services and does not have an intentional plan is not transitional housing. So now that you know that, and that's the definition of what transitional housing is, now I'm going to walk you through some common program types that people confuse with transitional housing. And guess what? I used to. So that's why I can talk about them because I'm not trying to pass judgment. I'm just making sure that there is clarity around it. So number one is informal shared housing. I've even sometimes referred to transitional housing as shared housing. So I even have to correct myself. But informal shared housing is not transitional housing because of the definition that I just laid out. So when you've got people who are renting rooms with no program structure, they have no required services, they have no milestones, no transition plan, and all you do is collect rent and have some rules, guess what? You are not transitional housing. You are simply shared housing, okay? Also, as you think about that, and even though I'll just say this, even though that may be shared housing, I need you to understand that it's still providing a service. So I don't want you hearing me and thinking that I'm poo-pooing on that type of housing because shared housing is necessary. So it may be shared housing and it may be a room rental, but you need to know that it's not transitional housing because you're not transitioning them into something for a period of time. And another example of what is not transitional housing is indefinite supportive housing. So you've got some programs that allow residents to stay long term, and they may have supportive housing in some contexts, but that too is not transitional housing because it does not have that time limit by design built into it. So keeping that in mind, that is not transitional housing. Also, emergency shelter. Making sure that somebody has housing, because trust and believe, shelter is crisis response and it is necessary. And even and as you look at transitional housing being able to stabilize individuals, it's still not the same. It has a different purpose, a different structure, and different expectations. So understanding that too is not transitional housing. Also, when you talk about sober living or recovery housing. Now, many times as I've talked about transitional housing, We do talk about serving individuals who want to stay in recovery, which is wonderful. We want to be able to support individuals in that space so that they can have a sober living experience and stay in recovery. And some recovery homes actually have structure and peer support, but transitional housing requires a defined time limit program with supportive services and a transition plan to permanent housing. And most of that housing has no permanent housing built into it. So a program can integrate recovery supports, but the program model must still be transitional housing aligned. So as you think about that, consider this last one, and that is a property with occasional help. That is not transitional housing. If services are offered when residents ask, that is not required supportive services. That's actually an option. And transitional housing has supportive services that are built in to the program design. So those are examples of what transitional housing is not. So here is what happens when the program is unclear. You've got residents who do not understand expectations. They actually think they are moving into permanent housing, and they resist services. They even reject your timelines, and they're going to argue with you about the rules. So when that happens, you're going to have problems. And so the operators feel guilty enforcing structure because they never established it clearly from the beginning. You're going to have staff that's going to become inconsistent with what their practices are. And guess what happens? Conflict rises. And then you've got partners who become cautious. And people who may be funding you may hesitate. And you might even have referral agencies that are going to stop referring to you. And the operator, when you're doing something like that, you're going to feel attacked, sometimes even misunderstood. So when the real issue is that the program was really never defined with confidence. So this is why clarity is compassion. You want to make sure that you're clear on what it is that you're providing. So here is how expert operators actually communicate. They lead with purpose. So when you can lead with purpose, you're providing that time-limited transitional housing. And with that paired with what is required in your supportive services, and you've designed that to be able to help the resident stabilize and transition into permanent housing, that is how you're leading with purpose. And you want to be able to do that. And then as an operator who communicates, you want to then explain how. And by explaining how, you're talking about how long is a person to stay in your program? What is that length of stay? How is that defined? You're also saying that the participation is not optional. It is required. And you are having structured supportive services. So having the services that you provide to be structured in a way that people know exactly what they're getting. And you're taking what is going on, your outcomes and their progress, you're tracking all of that. And you have a successful exit strategy built into what you're doing. This is what people who are communicating well, good operators, are doing. And that is the expert language because it is accurate, aligned, and confident. So here is that test, if you were still with me, that I promised that I was going to give you. And if you cannot describe your program in one sentence using these three elements, then you simply do not have a transitional housing program yet. You just simply have housing. The first element you need to make sure as you're being able to talk about your program is that there's a time limit to it. What type of time is associated with that? That's number one. Number two, what are the required services? What is that required support that you're providing? And then thirdly, being able to transition to permanent housing. Those are the three elements that you must have in that sentence that you provide to someone, and you should be able to be able to share that with anyone who comes to you. So this is my challenge to you. I want you to first document those three so you know exactly what we're talking about, right? You've got the time associated, the required support services, and then how they transition into permanent housing. So you take those three, go ahead and write it out. I want you to write out a sentence. And guess what? Go ahead and put it in the comments. If you're interested in this space, go ahead and put in the comments what your one sentence is for your transitional housing program. And I will review it for you. I'll let you know if it's on point or not. And the goal is to be able to make sure that whoever, when you share that sentence, understands your program clearly, then you have a solid program that you can work with. And that clarity is the first step to your credibility. So I'm just going to say, if this episode helped you, I want you to subscribe and turn on your notifications, because in the next episode, we are going to break down the HUD-aligned blueprint for transitional housing that actually works. And we're going to talk about how to design it so your program is stable from day one. And if you want to be around other purpose-driven leaders and other transitional housing operators, then join us at our Transitional Housing Maximized Skool community. You can join us at tonyskool.com. That's TONISKOOL.com. And when you join, you're going to be with other like-minded individuals who are going to be there to help you be able to build out the dream that you want to create in your transitional housing model. And I'll see you at the next episode.